All right, friends, we are back. It's Location Weekly, episode number 642. And we're recording a little earlier than normal because I'm heading to Tokyo next week. So Aubriana's helping me out here. We're doing Banging Out 2 this week. So next week's show is ready because we don't want to let you guys down. We got to give you a show every week. So there's that. But yes, I will be in Tokyo meeting with our partners at Unary and Mitsubishi and attending the CTEC conference, which is a big conference over there in which the LBMA has a large booth with all of our Japanese member companies involved in that. So that'll be super fun. And then we come back and we're like 2 weeks away from Retail Loco. So we'll be in Atlanta November 1st and 2nd for that in partnership with Simon Malls and Nobu. And we're really excited about that. Great speakers and attendees already lining up for that. So if you don't have your ticket yet, just go to thelbma.org and click on events and you'll see it there. So thelbma.org events, you'll find it there. Aubriana, how's it going?
It's going good. You are heading, to the other side of the world for a lot of work there, and I'll be here in New York for Ad Week, which will be lots of hustle and bustle. But before we start our show, maybe it would just be appropriate if we just kind of take a moment and level set with everything that's going on in the world and just know that our hearts and thoughts and prayers are going out, and we are really just hoping for peace,
Yes.
amongst all people. And I know here in New York, we have so many friends and family that have friends and family in Israel. And so we are just, here to support them and give them some love right now and everything that's happening. So
Yeah, it's really sad to watch and, be thankful that we are where we are, where we're not involved in that kind of conflict. Have to deal with that where we are here in Canada or where you are in the States right now. But we can certainly appreciate and pray for, everybody over there that peace will be had very soon.
absolutely.
All right.
But moving on, because that's what we do here on this show. Not forgetting, but moving on to what we have for you guys today, a pretty decent show. And as usual, I'm going to kick it off.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right. So first story today is coming from Swedish technology startup company. They started back in 2005, I believe, in Stockholm, and you know them as Klarna. And they got started, most of us know them, I know them, because they started doing kind of like these zero interest credit models where instead of buying that, $100 shirt, now you're buying that shirt for $25 a month for the next 4 months. So, it was really geared towards, I would say, like a certain price point of consumers that maybe didn't have specific credit history to successfully apply for a credit card. And really this just like ballooned and like blew up the company's value, Klarna's value, really quickly. So, the interest rates were low then. Now there's a little bit more of a challenge with the interest rates. So the valuation has changed since then, but they've been working on some new features as well. So the new feature within the Klarna app is now letting users point their phone at an item of clothing or an electronics gadget or piece, and they can find similar results to that product. Now, I know we talk about this all the time because I like to use the image search recognition. I use it for Pinterest. Sometimes I use it for Google at times. But this is like specifically for shopping. And I think that, moving from like a search to a buy mentality is a pretty cool value proposition. And it's a little bit unique here. So, they've been looking to become more, leaner, but aggressively be more profitable as well. And I think by expanding some of their features and solutions, they're going to be able to do that. So it's very similar to how Google Lens is going to, to operate. So if you're familiar with that, same scenario here. and it's trained on data from Price Runner, which is a company that they acquired for around $1 billion recently. And so they're rolling out that and some other updates coming up, including shoppable videos in Europe, which they've already rolled out here in the US. So I think this is cool. I like that they're expanding on that shopping experience, and they're not just like a kind of a credit or financing company, right? They are a shopping experience company, and these new features and solutions prove that. So I think this is like a strong positioning. I don't have a ton to add on it, but I just like that they are like really forming their entire like a robust solution around a specific experience versus being like stuck in this one place with like, here's what we offer. We're a financial company kind of a thing. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love this kind of tool. I love the idea of just pointing my phone at something and saying, "Hey, how much is this? Where can I find this?" Or find me something that's similar to it. And so, using AI to kind of power that kind of stuff, and the Price Runner service is great. I mean, Price Runner has been taking off lately. It's I think it's a pretty viable competitor, if you can say there's such a thing as a competitor to Amazon. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really great. And I think these guys are, I was just hearing a story yesterday about what they're expecting for this upcoming shopping season, with the holidays around the corner, and the whole buy now, pay later movement, and, how much growth there is in that with the economy that we have today and how cash strapped people are. So I think the combination of where Klarna sits in that, their cashback rewards program, their credit offering, if you will, from that point of view, I think it's very well situated at the moment. And yeah, these guys have been at it for a long time. I remember when we first did our LBMA events in Sweden, they at that time were involved in the early days of our Swedish operation. So it's good to see them cranking along and growing, and I love this type of point your phone image recognition technology. I think it's pretty current and awesome. So yeah. All right, shifting over now to Google and the Google Wallet team in particular. So I think the mobile wallets have been out for a long time now. I don't know how much you use yours, if you use one, Aubriana. I'm starting to use mine more and more on my iPhone, and but I think it's interesting because we haven't quite gotten to that place yet where we have we can abandon our sort of normal wallet and like everything's in our digital wallet. Like we don't have our health cards and our driving licenses and all these things necessarily in there, and that's kind of where Google is saying, hey, we see big adoption for this coming. We're investing in new technology to kind of power this up, and kind of going at it in a kind of holistic way. And so they've started to build a bunch of different APIs that are allowing different government agencies or healthcare providers or others to work in a way that they can digitize those credentials, and have them be stored in a secure way in the digital wallet. They said beginning this month, consumers with a Maryland ID or a driver's license can add their ID to their Google Wallet now in the state of Maryland. They're working on similar programs right now in Georgia, Colorado, and Arizona. They've enabled a way for boarding passes to go directly from Google Messages app into the wallet. And they've got this technology now where you can upload images with barcodes and QR codes and convert them directly into wallet passes. And I think that's really interesting because, there's a lot of applications for that. Obviously, we saw it, during COVID here in Canada, I think in the States as well, when you got your vaccines, the card that basically said you had your vaccines, those were all sort of enabled in these kinds of digital wallet passes. And I think, what we're seeing here is kind of a move towards expanding that in a number of different ways. And the other thing that they alluded to in the story was that they're really thinking about what this could be for corporate applications, be it ID badges for work, or library cards, or transit passes, or gym memberships, and these kinds of things, all kind of sitting in that one area, right? The whole idea is that we don't, to get away from carrying a physical anything, and have it all be there. Obviously, the big challenge that's always with these things is, if I need it and my phone dies, I'm done. So like we've got to make sure that we're not running into those kinds of situations. But I like the idea of moving to a digital way to store things, as long as it's secure, and we can ensure that it's accessible and available. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I use my Apple Wallet, like Apple Pay, every day. That's my most used form of payment, for sure. Moving throughout the trains, everything is there. Paying for parking, everything is there. Like, it's all right there, and it's easy to use. I think that there's like a couple of things that still have to be, you mentioned the mass adoption. So whether that's like the retailer actually accepting it everywhere, that's not the case yet today. But then also like your IDs. So, being able to utilize the fact that I can just have my phone with my driver's license on it and everything is there. And then the third is like the battery capacity and capabilities there, and what happens, is there the potential to be able to still use payment whenever the battery is low or dead? Like, things of that nature, thinking about how do we expand the technology there. So I think it's like great to be moving more into just a consolidated, like where we have less on us. I mean, there's a little bit of fear in the aspect of that we're giving up our privacy, or what are we sharing, is it something that we're going to be forced to do if people don't feel comfortable with it? Are they going to stop, taking actual physical currency? I think people have a fear of that too. So I think there's just a lot to overcome, but it's definitely the way that the industry, and I think us as consumers and our behavior, are moving. So I like this. All right. So let's do a story for the sneakerheads. And this is interesting. So Nike created Swoosh, which is basically this Web3 enabled platform that they had built out. And it kind of is supposed to be blending like the physical and the digital. So the physical obviously being Nike's, shoes and sneakers, and then the digital, maybe it's like that virtual creations of things. And so they are opening this up where you can be part of the community. You can help inform product designs. You can kind of help build towards the future of Nike. To me, it almost seems like, a way to get cheaper free talent, like an ideation, if I'm being very transparent and honest. But here it is. So now they are like actually releasing their first sneaker that's tied kind of to this Swoosh enabled platform, and this is called the Air Force One Low Tonnage sneaker, TINAJ. So it's valued at $120, and it's exclusively available for people. There's a few different things that you have to be able to kind of like check the boxes on if you want to even consider being able to get one of these sneakers when they drop on the 20th of this month. So 1, you need to make sure that you're a Swoosh member. 2, you had to purchase a pair of OF1s, which are Our Force ones, a virtual box, to be eligible for this. And then you have to reveal at least one of your OF1's virtual boxes. So it's like you bought this virtual box of shoes, you have to virtually unbox it before the 16th in order to redeem that for those sneakers. If you meet all those requirements, then you might be able to score one of these pairs of shoes. This is like a very interesting, this is a very like niche product. It's something that it's not just for like general like sneakerheads, but you have to be a sneakerhead, and you really are into the Nike ecosystem so much that you have like joined this Swoosh and bought into it. And I don't know what it costs to get one of those OF1 virtual boxes in the beginning, anyways, like as that NFT coin, kind of price. I have no idea. But I think it is to me, I'm like, so what I'm asking the questions. I told you my brother's a huge sneakerhead, like has designed a pair of sneakers for Nike with the Jarritos release. So I'm like texting him, like, so tell me why does Nike want to push people to unbox these shoes now? Why would somebody want to like give their design ideas and their, intellectual property to Nike on this platform, And I think that it's more about the community. It's about that feeling of belonging, being in a club, and that's the value exchange that they're giving. So in some way this is interesting and cool. I like that it's exclusive. Everybody likes to feel like they're part of something that other people can't get. It's a power thing. It's like what we all love. We like being in rooms that other people couldn't get into. So I think this is that. But I mean, good on Nike. There's brains behind this. They're getting people to buy into some virtual sneakers, unboxing them, doing all these things, jumping through hoops, you know, just to get a pair of sneakers.
There
What
you
you
go.
think?
I'm not a sneakerhead, so but I will say I always appreciate and applaud Nike's creativity. Like every time I see a campaign from them, it's really smart. It's really inventive in what they do, and so and I think that when we think about Web3 and the metaverse and these kinds of things right now, and obviously many brands are trying to experiment in there. You have to do something that I think is differentiating in there. You have to do something that forces people to play and get connected and get involved in it. But if you're a retail brand, as they are, then you need to be able to tie that back to physical goods. You need to bring that back to the real world, right? And I think that's where I see big opportunities, right? It's not just playing around the metaverse for the sake of watching my avatar do things. Like I think when you have this type of as you say, jumping through the hoops to make this happen, I like it. I think it makes sense. I think it's a niche community, but I think it makes sense for that community and to get them to engage in this way, and then ultimately tie it back to a real world shoe, right? That you can experience. And I think even like with what we do at ground level, I think we built this tool that basically looks at measuring engagement and activity within a metaverse environment, and then cross-linking that back to, are those the same people who are going to your real world stores on a location data point of view. So I think that kind of thing here becomes interesting, right? Because you've got this group of people who are probably also shopping at these at your stores in the real world, but there's a subset that's going to be playing here and experimenting with you and in the metaverse as well. So I like it.
There you go.
I think it's cool. All right, final story now. Uber, and I think this is very timely in terms of moving into the holiday shopping season here. They're launching a new service to Uber users and Uber Eats users where you can return packages. So basically, you can send a maximum of 5 prepaid and sealed items to the nearby post office, FedEx, or UPS site for a $5 fee and a $3 fee for Uber One members. So essentially, you can now call on Uber to come pick up a package that you want to return, let's say, that you bought from wherever, and they will deliver it for you to the shipping site at the post office or the FedEx site or wherever for a fixed fee. So this is available on Uber and Uber Eats. It's available in about 5,000 cities. I think this is, just given the time of year we're going into right now, this is going to be a time saver for a lot of people.
Yeah, I know that this is a big deal. Like my husband will complain that I am I'm great at shopping and buying new things, but I'm challenged when it comes to returning them. And so sometimes I'll have returns that sit by the front door for like weeks at a time. And, sometimes you've got a time limit there. You got to get things back in order to get a refund or a credit. So I think this is really helpful. And, we also, my husband has a business that is like where kind of like a rent the runway model, right? So a lot of times when it comes to local deliveries, it's for wellness and recovery. So sometimes when people are recovering from post surgery and they need this specific mechanism and machine to help them heal faster, like they want to get it there day of. So if it's in the area, we use the Uber delivery service like all the time. So I'm thinking that this is like the same. There's just so many applications to have that like same day ease of use, return to the store, return to, and it just makes sense. Like us as consumers, we lead busy lives, and sometimes just like paying an extra fee to get something back and out of your hair, or get something that you need in a timely manner is worth the cost. So I think this is great, and I do think it's a very timely launch for this service.
Yeah, agree. All right. Well, that's our show for this week. You've been listening and watching episode number 642 of Location Weekly. We thank you, as always, for your time. If you have story ideas, please reach out to us. If you have feedback on any of these, we'd like to hear about that too. We're just continuing to pray for peace over on the other side of the world now in the Middle East. And, everybody stay well and have a good week. And we'll see you again in another week or so. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.